Hey there, team. In this video, I'm going to share with you a content marketing strategy that will help you move people from total strangers to clients using a process, a 7-day content marketing strategy. And in case we've never met, my name is Dan Harrison, and I'm the founder of Soulful Sales Company. And we work with Rebel therapists and coaches and helping them build thriving virtual private practices. So I'm excited to share this with you, and I'm just going to dive in. We'll get right into it. So let me shift my screen around. And so this is the 7-day content funnel. Now, one part of our program and what we help people with is it's called the avocado method. Okay, it's the 7 pillars of six-figure business when you're building a business online. These are the 7 things that you need as the foundation. But it also, it's an acronym, and it also applies to this, the 7-day content funnel. So I'll explain what I mean in a second, but first let's just talk about content marketing in general. Like, why is this important? Why is it important to create content in a consistent way? Okay, so let's think about this. Like, for a lot of people, when you are building your online business, the successful people are on a constant pursuit of bringing more clarity to their offer, to their message, to their marketplace. And part of creating content is about doing that. It's about getting clear for yourself and being able to communicate what it is you do in a more and more clear way. And the more clear you get, the easier it is for people to find you, be attracted to you, and know what it is you actually do and how you help people. And so creating content really helps with that. Okay, and there's a process of when you're building your online business. Like, the first thing that happens is normally you're pretty confused in general. There's like overwhelm of all the different ways to build your business. Ways that you can offer. And so I find that just being intentional with creating content helps you to get clear about your offer, about what it is you do, and how to communicate that. So that's part of it. And then once you have clarity around your offer, who you're serving to, who you're writing to, who you're creating content for, that gives you like a new level of confidence. And that confidence is, we as humans, we're attracted to this character trait. And so this confidence actually leads to more connections, right? And so one of the big problems for people typically, especially when they're starting out, is they might not have an audience, right? They might not have anybody to speak to. And so building connections and relationships is really key, because from connections, you end up in conversations. And from conversations, you end up with new clients. That's always how you get new clients, right? From conversations to new clients, and new clients ultimately means cash flow. So the intent, or the reason behind creating content, is really to go through this process of getting clarity, which allows you to gain confidence, have more connections, which leads to more conversations, which leads to more clients, which ultimately leads to more cash flow. So that's the reason why you might want to, practice and get good at creating your content. I'm going to tell you a quick story because, I've been an entrepreneur for a very long time. I've been self-employed my entire life. And, sometimes I hear people like, writing content is hard, or finding clients is hard, or being an entrepreneur is hard. And you know what? It is. Like, just straight up, it is challenging, okay? Being a coach, being a therapist, building your own private practice, your own business, that is not easy. And but I want to preface that by saying it's also a lot easier than it used to be. Okay, because of the evolution of social media and technology, and the ability to find the people that you actually want to serve. Okay, so quick story, like when I was a financial planner, so I started in finance in 2008, great time to start in finance, but I was a financial planner, and I had to go out and build my own book of business, find my own clients, and I tried everything. I mean, cold calling, book clubs, conferences, and everything to start conversations with people, to find people. And I remember like one of the things that I did, okay, so like all of those things sucked. You go into a random neighborhood, you're knocking on doors. Hey, you have no idea who's behind that door. Hey, I'm your neighborhood financial advisor. The rejection was huge, but I'm so grateful for those experiences because I had to do the hard thing. I had to do the uncomfortable thing, and I learned a lot about myself and about sales and through that process. And one of the things I did, which was hilarious, is I just wanted to talk to people and serve them, and so. But nobody wanted to talk about finances, and I didn't really know how to, connect with people aside from the normal, ways that people were doing it in the industry. And so one of the things I took my barbecue that was out, just like it was on the patio. I was cooking some food, and I decided, you know what, I'm gonna just go cook some food out on the street corner. And I got a bunch of hot dogs and a bunch of hot dog buns, and I went out and I stood on the corner and I gave out free hot dogs, and just to get connected with people and to have build some connections. But the reason I was able to do that is because I had clarity on what it was I was doing, and I had confidence about what I was doing, and I knew I could help people. I just needed to have some connections. And so, like, what's great is you no longer have to do that. And social media just allows for you to find people so easily. And people's profiles are public. And so you don't have to do random things like this anymore. You can sit in your comfortable home and you can search for people and find who it is you want to serve. So I just share that story because if you've been thinking like, oh, creating content is hard, or finding clients is hard, or being an entrepreneur is hard, yes, it's true, and it's never been easier. It's a lot easier now than it used to be. So just like putting that into a little bit of perspective. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the problems that people typically face when it comes to creating content. Some of the problems are, I don't know what to write about, right? What do I post? Another one is it takes too long. If you're guilty of I have done this. I've sat trying to write a post and spent more than 2 hours writing it. And then the worst is you spend all that time and you go to post it and it gets no engagement. And you're like, did I just waste 2 hours of my life? And that's the third thing. It's like, why am I even doing this? Right? Why am I posting every day? I'm kind of told that I'm supposed to, but if it doesn't generate clients, then why do it? Right? And so the problems that people struggle with when it comes to creating content is like writer's block, staring at that blank screen, not knowing what to write about. Second thing is it takes too long to create this content. And third is it doesn't produce these like immediate results when you're doing it without a strategy. And so lots of people are just creating content for the sake of creating content. There's often not a lot of consistency, and it doesn't produce any results. And so it ends up feeling like a total waste of time, and you end up feeling like really frustrated with this content marketing idea, which is what we do not want for you. What we want instead is, and what we're going to give you in this training, is a clear map. Like here's a 7-day content strategy that is fun, is interesting, and gives you a clear path into like what to write about. The second one is a process for creating these posts and when to post it, and like a bit of a strategy. So we're going to give you like the what to post, we're going to give you like the when to post, and ultimately so that it has more intention and you're actually getting new clients. And if we can do those things, then what's going to happen is you're actually going to enjoy the process. And if you enjoy the process, you're going to enjoy your work, you're going to do more of it, it's going to be contagious, and you're going to get more engagement, you're ultimately going to have more conversations, get more clients, and have more cash flow. So that's the kind of intent behind this 7-day content funnel. Okay, so let's dive in. Let's unpack this a little bit, and keep this rolling. So first thing, let's talk about just 3 big ideas when we're talking about content marketing, things to think about, what will have your content marketing strategy work better is if you actually have some intent behind your posts. You know, I see like without that intent, you end up posting really random stuff that's not really connected to your offer or it lacks purpose. And so being intentional with every single post. Okay, and we'll unpack that a little bit. The second thing is like, you're a content creator, right? Like a musician. And finding your cadence, finding your rhythm, thinking about this content creation process as like your song. Okay, and if you've only got one chord, that's a pretty boring song. And so, but I see this happen a lot where you've got content, you know, coaches, therapists, and they're just producing like one type of content. It's usually like how-to content or just, you know, here's some tips, or here's like my entire personal life. But what's the rhythm? Like having a good mix of different types of content. So, and developing your own cadence. And then what are the actual posts that work, and why do you use them, and why do you post them? Okay, so that's what we're going to talk about. These are the 3 big ideas: is having intent behind your strategy and your posts, finding your cadence and your rhythm, and then actually giving you some, like having a framework for your posts so that they move people into action. So let's talk about intent first. Ultimately, if you think about like organic content marketing, it's really a selling process. It's a sales process. And so the big picture intent is actually to enroll new clients. Like that's why you create content. But what you don't want to do is create content like initially that's just like, you know, trying to sell your thing. That's not a great strategy. The overall intent is enrolling new clients, but there's like a process. And so the 5-step organic selling process is, first, you need attention, right? We live in a very noisy, busy world, so your content needs to be designed in a way that like grabs people's attention. And when you can grab attention, which is kind of like the new currency of 2022, and you know, in the social media age, is like attention. That is our current currency. But when you can capture attention, then you can build an audience. And when you have an audience, you can then book calls. And when you can book calls, you then can actually do the calls and have them show up and follow up with people. And this ultimately leads to enrolling new clients. So this is kind of the organic selling process. And the content element is here. It's about building, getting attention and building your audience. So when we're talking about organic marketing, we're really what we're really doing is moving people from strangers into clients and taking them through a process with just our content, and moving them from cold to sold. Okay, but how do you do this, right? How do you move somebody from cold, not knowing you at all, into a raving fan and client? Well, the missing ingredient here is influence. Okay, so moving somebody from cold to sold requires influence. So let's unpack influence a little bit. Because if your business is not growing as fast as you would like it to, it's because you don't have enough influence with enough people. Okay, I'll say it again. It's like, if your business is not growing as fast as you would like it to, it's because you don't have enough influence with enough people, in really simple terms. Okay, so if you think about it this way, if you have no audience and you have no influence, you're going to have no growth. If you have a small audience and low influence, you're going to have slow growth. And if you have large audience with a large influence, you're going to have fast growth. Right? So this is what's missing typically is either influence or an audience for coaches and therapists building their business online. So if we unpack influence, right, what is this? What is this thing? Well, it's the capacity to have an effect on the character, development, or behavior of someone or something, right? So it's the ability to inspire somebody to take action and to influence their behaviors or their character and to create change. And as coaches and therapists, this is a big, part of what we do, being able to inspire and influence and have people take action towards their goals and their dreams. Okay, so for example, if what I'm sharing with you right now is resonating or is interesting to you, then somewhere on this page or likely around here, there's going to be an opportunity to book in a call with me. And if you want to have a conversation about your content marketing and get more clarity around, what your strategy could look like, then I invite you to book a time with me. It's 15 minutes. It's totally free. I'll just help you get some clarity around this so that you can move more clients, develop your influence, grow your audience, and ultimately grow your business. So if that sounds interesting to you, then I invite you to go ahead and book a call. But let's talk about this. Because you've probably heard this before. Okay, this is where it starts to come together. But if you're gonna, if what you want is influence, how do you get that influence? How do you create influence? Well, it happens when people know, like, and trust you. You know this, right? Like when you think about the people that you've done business with, typically you know, like, and trust them. And so, but how do you develop that? How do you gain somebody's trust and likability and where they get to know you? Well, that's what we can do with our content. And so in the 7-day, thinking about the 7-day content marketing strategy, these are the different types of posts that you can create. So there's, authority posts, validation posts, opener posts, challenge posts or character posts, authenticity posts or affinity posts, DM me posts, and outsourced posts, okay? And I'll unpack those in a second, but let's talk about the 3 that build know, like, and trust and influence, okay? So authority posts are things where you are flexing a little bit. What do I mean by that? I mean flexing your knowledge, flexing your expertise, providing value, just sharing, why you're an expert, what it is you do, how you do it, and what qualifies you. The pieces like credibility, credentials, expertise, know-how, tips, tricks. These are all types of posts that instill trust, right? That you are the expert, that you can be trusted, that you know what you're talking about and you can help people. Okay, the next one is authenticity or affinity posts. So this is, when somebody is authentic, just real and themselves, right? That's I love that, right? I love it when people are just authentic and sharing their truth. And I like them more when I feel like I know them. Or affinity would be another word for this, which is sharing things that you care about that are uniquely yours. So for me, for example, I've got a 3-year-old daughter. So I'm very much into parenting. We live in Mexico and have built a lifestyle business. So I'm learning about surfing. That's fun for me. Travel is fun for me. I study A Course in Miracles and have a morning routine and my faith, right? So family, faith, fun, these are things that are authentic to me that you'll see in some of my posts. And if anybody else has, those things, there's an affinity that we can build because it's like we like to do business with people like us. Okay, so it's like, what's your authentic posts? How can you develop that affinity with people? And then last is challenge posts or character posts, which are really helping people shift beliefs by sharing your own beliefs or your own like character story and letting people know you on like a deeper level, and also like challenging beliefs that other people have. And when you do this, like those are incredibly valuable posts. But if you can do this, what you build with your audience is influence. Okay, so those are three really potent types of posts. And the last thing I'm going to share with you in this, short training is this, which is 7 days, the 7 different types of posts, and what is the intent behind it. Okay, so what we've got here is the first thing is authority. Okay, so this is, like we said, is to build trust, to show you are an expert and that you can actually help or provide value. Okay, validation posts are like proof. Okay, so proof that you can actually help people. It might be testimonials, client results, case studies, things like that. Offers are typically like, lead magnets or things that you're giving away. Free resources, guides, trainings, or you're just like giving things away. Which usually ends up with like a call to action that starts conversations. So this is typically one of those posts that like open up conversations. Challenger character is really about the beliefs. So creating like thought reversals or shifting beliefs or sharing about your character. Authentic or affinity posts is like the goal is to attract like minds or attract like minds and develop affinity, ultimately likability with your community. DMs are typically value hooks. This is a specific type of post that's kind of like, or also like two-step posts. And it's like, if you want this thing, DM me or comment below. This is, again, another one of those that goes from content to engagement and conversations. And then outsourcing is just other people's, like sharing other people's work, right? Promoting other people. Okay, and instead of examples, what I'm going to include in this, there's a workbook which you can download, and it has a lot of the frameworks that we use and kind of brainstorming sheets, and I'll share with you a couple, and then I'll wrap up this training really quick here. So talking about the rhythm, so this is like the intent, right? What is the intent? Here's the 7 types of posts, and there's the intent for each one. Now just think about this. If you're posting every day and you're like building trust, you're showing proof, you're giving away value, you're shifting beliefs, you're sharing yourself in an authentic way that builds likability, you're giving more stuff away to open up conversations and lifting other people up. Like, this is an interesting feed. This is an interesting spot that somebody would come to and be engaged with, that will build your audience and your influence. So the next thing is talking about the rhythm, right? What is the cadence of your content? And it's like important to be posting once a day. Okay, and so one of the things that we do is actually, which makes this easy, is like batching content. So batch your content, and the way you do this is like monthly and weekly, and then you schedule it. Okay, so this is, when you're looking at the month, here's like a bunch of different ideas, and you can just think about, okay, I'm just going to brainstorm 30 ideas that have to do with, authority, validation, openers, challenge or character, authentic or affinity, DMs, outsourcing. Okay, so here's like some examples of different types of posts. And you just brainstorm. Here's 30, so that's the month. Then what I tend to do is like each week I'll then think about, okay, here's what I'm doing for the week. Here's the weekly. And I batch create when I'm on my game. I'll batch create 7 posts. And then I'll schedule it. And I don't have to think about it. Okay, so, and this is where I'll break down a little bit more, like what is this authority post that I'm going to write about? And this is it. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And there's the rhythm, there's the cadence. You can switch these up a little bit, and we have a strategy inside of our community or inside of our program that we teach, but here's a simple cadence for you. And the last thing is the posts. Now, I'm just going to share with you the frameworks, and and then if you want some coaching on any of these or some support or want to know more about them, then I invite you to book a call, and happy to share and help you develop your own 7-day content strategy. Okay, so the posts, the first thing that's in here is, this is a great tool for thinking about, like brainstorming what you want to write about. What's the title of it? What's the hook? What's the why? What's a metaphor? Okay, and then these are all of the different frameworks. So for authority posts, proof posts, these are just, brainstorming posts. Here's all the different frameworks that you can use to think about creating content with. Okay? So, I'm going to leave that with you there. I hope you got some value out of that training. I hope you have a great day. And if you want some support, then book a call. That button that's somewhere around this video. All right. Have a great day. Bye-bye.